Are you a fat blubbery mess? Are you sick of everything you do just being physically draining? Or do you want to make a change and you just haven't got a clue where to start? Well, you'd listen to this if you knew it was good for you. Now, whether you're wanting to lose weight, get fit, or both, there's similar but different approaches. I've made mistakes in the past which set me back, and I'm hoping that by telling you about these things, you can avoid doing them yourself. So, first of all, whether you're wanting to lose weight, get fit, or both, you need to change your perspective, and you need to change the way that you look at food. Yeah, food can be delicious, food can be a treat, food can be something, that you look forward to all day, all week. But primarily food is two things. It's fuel and nutrition. And you can't expect to be healthy and live, a long, healthy life without those two things. Now I'm going to give you a for example. I'm going to give you an example. So, let's say you're going to go out in your car and you fill up the tank and you drive 50 miles. Well, then the next day you go to fill up the tank again. Well, you've not used all the fuel from the day before. So what's going to happen if you try and fill up the tank? You're going to replace the 50 miles that you've done, and then the rest of the fuel that you put in is just going to spill out everywhere. Well, the human body doesn't work that way. You can overeat, and what you overeat will be stored on your body as fat. And fat is just stored energy for you to use at a later date. So it's actually a very key evolutionary advantage that humans have to be able to store fat. And if you don't believe me, think about the poor hummingbird. The hummingbird spends most of its day having to search for food and eating because it can't store fat. The ability to store fat meant that we didn't have to be eating all the time, so we could spend more time hunting and gathering, etc., etc. So think about it that way. Secondly, your food, or your energy in the food, is measured in calories. Well, what is a calorie? If you Google it, it'll say calorie is the energy needed to heat 1 gram of water by 1 degree, which in essence to a human means absolutely nothing. But what they do tell you, and by they, I mean the powers that be, that the average human female needs around 2,000 calories a day, and the average adult male needs 2,500 calories a day. This is a very, very broad average. I'm not a big guy, I'm not a heavy guy. If I was to eat 2,000, which is the recommended amount for a woman, I would consistently put on weight month after month. The amount of calories that you need depends on your height, your weight, your body composition, your activity levels. You don't need the same amount of calories every day. And what you'll tend to find is the people that eat the same meals consistently every day of the week tend to be overweight because they're not burning off what they ate previously. Just like when you put fuel in your car, if you don't use it all and you go to fill the tank again, it's going to spill out. So you need to keep that in mind. Now, you can lose weight simply by being in a calorie deficit, which means you're eating less energy than you're actually expelling. So then you start actually using some of the body's stores, you start burning off that fat. But, and this is one of the mistakes I made when I first started dieting, I dieted and concentrated mainly on cardio. Unfortunately, what that did, because I didn't do really any resistance training, is my body ate away fat and muscle, and I went quite skeletal. You want to avoid that. So losing weight, getting fit, both you can do in a calorie deficit, but you have to do some sort of resistance training, so the body knows not to break down the muscles because they're still being used. Cardio is good, but especially in a calorie deficit, your cardio and your resistance training should be balanced. Now, if you're not bothered about getting fit and you're not bothered about your muscles wasting away, you could simply reach a calorie deficit. Let's say, just for argument's sake, you've worked it out, you know what your expenditure is, you know how many calories you're burning every day, and just let's say to be in a 500 calorie deficit, which would generally result in a pound of fat loss a week. If you're in a 500 calorie deficit and you have to eat, let's say, just to keep it simple, 1500 calories, well, you could in essence make that up by eating 15 Kit Kats, which would be about 1500 calories. You'd still be in a calorie deficit, but you're eating empty calories. There's no nutritional value, and that's what they mean when they say empty calories. You're eating things that, yes, has got energy, but that's all it is. There's nothing else, there's no nutrition, and there's nothing good for your actual body. So if you're having to reduce your calories and you're going on let's say a 1500 calorie deficit, and you're wanting to maintain your muscle, well, there's a certain amount of protein that you need to eat. Now again, it's different for everyone based on your body size, but just for argument's sake, let's say you have to have 100 grams of protein a day. Well, that would be roughly 3 chicken breasts, 3 100 gram chicken breasts, just for argument's sake. So what you'll tend to find is you could eat 15 Kit Kats, but they wouldn't touch the sides. But once you factor in that you need to get a certain amount of protein in, and you need to get a certain amount of fats in, and you need to get a certain amount of veg for your nutrition in, you'll actually realise that that calorie deficit can be quite difficult to maintain, because by getting all the bits that you need in, you have to cut all the stuff out to stay in that deficit. One thing that people forget is the calories that are in drinks. There's a lot of calories in drinks. I mean, next time you go out for a coffee, just have a look in some of the iced drinks, and in some of the syrup flavoured coffees, how many calories are in them. And that's all going in towards your total of the day, which, you know, obviously if you're trying to be in a calorie deficit and you go and have a 500 calorie drink, well, that's 500 calories you can't have of protein or veg. Just a sec, guys. Didn't want to get those guys on the camera. So just let me do a bit of maths. So if you're having a 100 gram chicken breast to get you 30 grams of protein, well, 100 grams of chicken, less the oil or butter, whatever you've cooked it in, is 250 grams. So if you're having 3 of those a day, and again, you might not want chicken, I'm just keeping it simple just to do the calories. 100 grams of chicken is 250 calories. It's 30 grams of protein. So if you're having 3 of them, there's 750 calories. Then you've got your veg. Now, veg in itself doesn't generally have a lot of calories. But let's say, for argument's sake, and I'll just go through the day with you. Let's say you start your breakfast, or should I say, start your day with your breakfast, and you have 2 rashers of back bacon and 2 eggs. Well, that's near as damn it 400 calories. Then throughout the day, you're going to have your chicken for your lunch, and let's just, for argument's sake, chicken for tea with veg. Well, there you're talking all combined, let's say, another 1,000 calories. So just from your breakfast, lunch and tea, you're already nearly at your 1,500 calories. That's without including any drinks, you know, fruit juices, cordials, any snacks you've had in the day. So when you work out, like I said earlier, when you factor in what it is you actually need, it doesn't really give much leeway to eat the stuff that you don't need. And the longer you keep that up for, the healthier you'll be in the long run. If you get your resistance training right, which I might add, you have to train with intent. If you're going to lift weights or, you know, whatever, it has to be an effort. There's no point in getting a weight and curling it for 3 sets of 10 and it being easy. Each set of 10 should be difficult. And 3 sets of 10 might not be enough, but, you know, to start with, I'm just giving you an example. So I hope I've kept it simple. I hope there's enough in there to get you started. I wish you luck on your journey, and just get out there and start. It can be one day or day one, you decide. Best of luck to you all. Ta-ta.